that recording button and say, hey, hi, hello, welcome back, Alexandrian Codex. Only 4, there's no cam right now, because I feel like trash today, and it's all I can do to exude vague positivity in voice and not in form. This is the New Order. The New Order has descended upon the world. With the triumph of the Axis powers in the Second World War, the world has been forever changed. No shit, dude. Okay, I gotta put this out here up front. The writing in this is overly edgy. It's somebody who's... the writing's in the tone of the time period of the 60s and 70s and like this really kind of edgy, badass kind of facade. Like it doesn't detract from it. I want to be very clear about that. Well, it does in some cases, but I feel like a younger author or younger authors wrote a lot of the content here, like especially playing as the United States, the word fuck and its derivatives are thrown around liberally. Let's put it that way, very liberally. Playing as Robert Kennedy, and like every third sentence coming out of his mouth has fuck or fucking in it, is just like, my dude, I get that, you know, you watch some TV shows featuring the 60s and 70s and they were all doing drugs and saying bad words, and like, yeah, people do that, but I don't know. It tonally, what attracted me to the New Order was posts on the subreddit going, oh dude, it's so dark, it's so depressing, it's so like, makes you feel like you don't have control, and it's kind of just like rough. I'm like, huh, interesting. That's a really neat spin, and honestly, I think it delivers on that. It's frustrating to play if you're doing it with a intentional destination or goal in mind, and we'll get into the mechanics of how it's frustrating and if that frustration is satisfying, right? It's very interesting conceptually and mechanically, and they've added some truly impressive and really amazing accomplishments in this mod, so I don't want to undersell it by coming in with negativity. If you know me or the channel at all, yeah, that'll be here, but seriously, I wouldn't be playing this today, especially because I feel like shit, if I weren't interested in at least digging into this a little bit. Yesterday's great empires are now dust under the boot of today's victors. A German lands on the moon as Hitler fades. In America, the old system lies shattered. Does it? Though, because it's still like the old electoral system. Whatever. The Mediterranean's power balance lies on a knife's edge. China, little more than a slave of Japan, begins to transform itself. And in Russia, long damned warlords realize their destiny. So this is can't get through one fucking paragraph without swearing. And dude, this is coming from me. So I feel you, dog, but the tone here comes across as young adult writing their first short story. I can relate. My first short stories had a lot of cursing in them, especially when I was a teenager. When I was like, not to be hurtful here, but like, you know, 13. I thought like, oh yeah, cussing makes people seem tough. Not really. It's filler. It's bad filler. It's filler for when you don't have a more poetic, nuanced, or picturesque way of portraying the concepts that you want to portray. It's lazy, and it doesn't dig as deeply as good, barbed vocabulary can. Also, most of these sentences are sentence fragments and aren't grammatically correct, but that's okay. So, we got 4 major factions. The OFN, the Deutsche Reich, I forget the name of the Germans pact. We got the Empire Japan, and we have the Italian Empire. Now, there's a bunch of other countries we can be playing, but no, who would I be if we were not playing as old slippery Richard himself? The game starts in 1964, not in 1936, and that's a big appeal. So, oh god, it's flavor text time. Richard Milhouse Nixon is a complicated figure. Originally a representative and then senator from California, he rapidly rose through the ranks of Congress through skilled political maneuvering. During his time as a senator, Nixon worked closely with Joe McCarthy in carrying out the Gray Scare and rooting out suspected fascists in government. It's a real fucking laugh if you think Joe McCarthy wasn't a fascist, but Joseph McCarthy was a piece of shit human being. I get like, it's alt history, so we do the opposite, right? No. Alt history, if the US, or if Nazi Germany had won, which, you know, there's 1,000 reasons why that didn't happen, the US would have gone fascist. It would have been mask off, haha, we were capitalist fascists the whole time, but whatever. I do want to make that case before getting into this, because the OFN in the United States are portrayed as the last hope of democracy, or you know, the big air quotes here, good guys, and that's a very, very generous thing to give to the United States. We inspired Hitler with our centuries-long programs of genocide and racial inequality. Seriously. That's not hyperbole, that's literal fact. While not in the spotlight as McCarthy was, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Nixon still holds anti-fascist sentiments. A lifelong member of the Republican Party, Nixon has never been totally comfortable working alongside Democrats. The broad popularity of the National Progressive Party dictates that they must, however, and the coalition ticket that won him the 1960 election has made his presidency a living hell. John F. Kennedy's position as vice president is driven a wedge in the executive branch, as his own magnetic charisma and stunning competence have taken away the spotlight from Nixon more than once. As much as he wants to focus on foreign policy with an unstable Reich and the Japanese, civil rights have become an issue that can't be ignored. Racial tensions in the country are flaring up, and people demand action. While Nixon has been reluctant to endorse either segregation or integration, staying on the fence is becoming increasingly costly. Of course, Nixon is doing what he can to keep the NPP down, including some extra legal means, while challengers coming at him from all sides, including within the White House. Nixon will have a hell of a time trying to keep the ship of state steady. See, there you go again. You were actually getting the tone together really well. The ellipses after some, totally unnecessary, kiddo. Get rid of that. Make this grammatically correct. I'm saying kiddo, and I don't mean that pejoratively. I just mean, clearly you're not a very experienced writer if you're still using these tools. Clearly you have a good grasp of what you're trying to convey, and it's quite evident in your writing that you're good at it. These are lazy hooks that you don't need. Yeah, the Ashnet killed me. Not yet, though it did lead to something around 1,200 deaths related to smoke inhalation of at-risk people, and something like 8,000 hospitalizations across the United States. So I'm not one of them, but like, damn, that's a statistic. This paragraph would have been so much better, this last one, without the ellipses with before extra legal and we'll have a hell of a time. It's very it's something, all right. Yo, the modding is like me being very tired, so don't expect it to be entertaining, but yeah, I need to do more of that. I just have not been feeling that spring chickeny, so we haven't been on that yet. Oh god. Republican Democrats. Republicans, liberal democracy. Liberal democracy can trace its roots back to the philosophies of John Locke. Locke, you're missing a comma here. First and foremost, and missing a comma here, believe that all people on the planet are entitled to natural rights. Natural rights, this should be a colon, consisting of life, liberty, and property. Locke didn't believe that all people were entitled. John Locke believed that all men were entitled. But okay. He also believed that citizens create a social contract with the nation that they live in, defining the state as something that exists solely to protect its citizenry and must use its powers to do so. Therefore, a nation can only rule from the consent of the governed, and must use their position to protect and advance the rights of the people. Liberalism sprouts from the idea that social progress and equality can be brought upon not by violence and revolution, but instead I think that's right. Instead, through the creation of laws and policies. These liberals believe in the democratic processes and are willing to work with political enemies in order to achieve their goals, including universal suffrage, universal education, property rights, the advancement of marginalized populations. This is wrong. Just to be clear, this definition of what liberalism is not correct. Liberalism is the belief that power derives from the people and the consent of the governed. That is correct. That first paragraph, correct. Second paragraph, that's some lib bullshit. No, progressives fought for universal suffrage. Progressives have fought for universal education. Progressives fight for property rights, the advancement of marginalized peoples. Liberals are... it's such a broad category that it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, liberals working with non-libs while they're in power, press X to doubt. For sure. Because here's the thing, Republicans and Democrats, they're both neoliberals. They're both liberals, kids. They're not, one's a center-right party, and the other is a right party. Yeah, for sure. And this isn't unique in the United States. So somebody's... Before we even get started, you know, you're starting to see some red flags. Somebody's had a civics course in the American school system, probably. Somebody's been taught the popularized definition or working common definition of what this is without actually reading John Locke and without actually looking into the distinctions here. Due to the rise of fascism, should be a comma here, and other right-wing extremist ideologies, you can keep that comma though, many free nations have drifted towards liberalism, and many people see it as the last sane way to counteract such a dramatic shift in the world. Okay, sure. Last bastion of liberty. The United States of America is the last light of freedom shining in a world of darkness. Gag. Fuck off. Canada exists, there's Australia, there's New Zealand. I think India's a socialist republic. There's socialist republics in the, in Mongolia, in the steppe, and there are many other democracies in the world, but whatever. The other great democratic nations of this fragile world are now turned into dust, smashed by the overbearing, fascist-holding fist of the Reich and the rising sun. Fascist holding fist. Okay, yeah, because you're not a fascist is someone who believes in fascism. A fascista is the root word from which fascist derives, so it should be a fascista holding fist, or the Latin form of it means a bundle of sticks. But I see what you're going for. That's good imagery. Is the only major allied power to survive the inexorable advance of evil. Okay. This is written by a goddamn patriot, huh? During the Second World War, America must bear the torch of liberty into this new, twisted age. The American malaise. America was once a nation of indomitable will. Sure, bud. A nation so bountiful and spirited that its optimism seemed unconquerable. This person cries at the 4th of July. that was ended by the atomic bombing of Pearl Harbor. Wow, I didn't realize it was nuked in this setting. Nice. Now across each and every one of these United States. Can I ask how? Because Japan didn't have a nuclear program. Japan started a nuclear program, then said it wasn't worth the trouble and started working on other things instead. Japan very intentionally made a choice to pivot the fuck away from a nuclear program very early on, and were like a decade behind the United States at least in their program. Mod author, how the fuck did this happen? Or did you just think, haha, what if Pearl Harbor, but with nukes? I think that's the trend here. Oh dear. Now, across each and every one of these United States, the country is mired in a malaise with only a dim light at the end of the tunnel. You're really mixing metaphors here, dude. They're mired in a malaise, in a sickness, with a dim light at the end of the tunnel. Are they in a tunnel, or are they sick? The land of opportunity and idealism has been overcome by poverty and strife. Overcome? Buddy, it done been this way. It's a pit that may not be surmounted easily, and only time will tell if the patriotic fire that once burned in American hearts shall return. Fuck you. Patriotism burned in American hearts. Okay, buddy. Okay. Seriously, Japan's, fascist Japan, or nationalist Japan's, nuclear program is fairly well documented, and super small and super abandoned. It was a very intentional and unanimous decision. There wasn't a lot of dissension on that, and even if there were, they didn't have a lot of experts. Okay, you don't surmount pits. Surmount means to climb over something. It's a pit that may not be easily summited. You would summit a pit. You climb up out of a pit, but you don't go up and over a pit. But again, I'm being critical of the writing because it's full of this shit. And there are just paragraphs upon paragraphs upon paragraphs in this mod. I did a playtest and got to like 1968, 69, maybe 67, I don't remember, but the writing gets exhausting. Since the end of Reconstruction, a brutal racial apartheid has been instituted across the southern United States. Taking their name from the racist minstrel song Jump Jim Crow, the Jim Crow laws forced Black Americans to live their lives separately from, and completely unequal to, the white population. You should use the same noun. Choose either Americans or population there. Because the distinction between the two is weird in the same sentence. It's either Black Americans and white Americans, or Black population and white population. Again, you're mixing stuff. Blacks are forced to the back of buses, through separate entrances and buildings, into separate neighborhoods and schools, and they're buried in separate cemeteries. These laws even prohibit blacks from marrying whites or using the same drinking fountains. While fiercely defended in the South, they're seen by all decent men as a backward atrocity in the so-called land of the free. Okay, now you're putting your own values in here, and trust me, I understand. When you're writing about something like this, it's really hard not to, but that's a massive tone shift between historical fact, right, Wikipedia article, right? Wikipedia articles do not make demonstrative declarations of value. If something is decent or indecent, good or evil, right or wrong. That's not how, frankly, that's not how history books are written, and that's not how this flavor text typically is. But they've already established that they throw their values. This author, this writer, throws their values in here pretty loosely. How do the under-USA Americas look in terms of politics in this mod? They don't. There's only focus trees for like a dozen nations. They're very impressive focus trees, but the vast majority of countries in this mod just sit not doing anything the vast majority of the time. It's kind of disappointing, to be honest, but this is early days for this mod. I want to really make note on that. This is early days, and they've done mechanically some incredible work. I'm being critical of the writing because it's a weak point. It's a big weak point. It feels like it's written by a young man, a young white man, a young white American man, a young white American man from a middle-class upbringing, a young white American man who's probably cishet from a middle-class upbringing in the Midwest or East Coast of the United States, who comes from a traditional liberal or Republican white background. You can tell a lot about a person from the way that they write. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, and I'd be delighted to be wrong, but there's a lot of their personality shows. Or maybe I'm projecting, but I don't think so. As Black Americans grow more forceful in their demands for equality, America's government will soon have to choose whether to crucify Jim Crow or sacrifice their future at his altar. What? Again, the metaphors, dude, they don't make any fucking sense. Yeah, we'll take a look once we pop in here, because that's a good question. I only gave it a very loose look, but I'm assuming it's a bunch of... Yeah, a bunch of dictatorships because, haha, Latin and Central America can't... If it weren't for the United States, they'd all be backwards dictatorships and yeah. Senator Nixon has been proclaimed President Nixon. I want to make clear I don't believe that. I just want to be clear that that's a narrative that I suspect this game will follow. For a beautiful new decade for America. With the former Axis seemingly facing twilight and 20 years of policy in America seemingly coming to a head domestically and abroad, this may be the most decisive presidency in American history. Seemingly twice in one sentence. Bold move, Cotton. Bold move. The civil rights movement, is it a dilemma or is it a movement? Is it both? It's tearing apart this nation. The nation. And we will need to respond to the crisis if it means keeping America stable. 3 sides have come out. This is where you put in a colon. 1, comma, calling for the immediate move towards equalization of all races. No, never mind on that comma. 1, demanding the government to immediately stomp down on protests and activists. Can't imagine who those people are. And the president's faction hoping to ride the wave until the situation calms down and a path is more clear. I gotta... Who the fuck is neutral in a situation like this? Like, well, we just gotta wait. I'll tell you who. The white moderate liberal. Smashing the crested wave. When he wrested a giant's prize cattle from his 10th labor, Hercules journeyed further. It's further, not farther. It's further westwards, not farther. Farther westwards than the borders his maps detail. Detailed? It's a weird... Detail is a weird word to use here, but the form of detail that you want is detailed. Because the map was not detailing it. The map had been detailed to feature those borders. Before returning to Mycenae, he erected 2 mountain-sized pillars, where the Nerean coast met Poseidon's boundless blue dominion. Inscribed upon these pillars, demarcating the world's seeming edge, were words "ne plus ultra," no further beyond. Ne plus ultra you can have without quotation marks. No further beyond should be in quotation marks. The erudite can draw parallels between the Japanese Empire's conquests and the Greek hero's 10th labor. The erudite? Really? Oh, alright. Like Hercules. It's again, it's not a smart metaphor. It's very clear what you're getting at, saying like, only the erudite get this metaphor. Just jacking yourself off a little bit. Like Hercules, its armies and fleets ventured towards the continent's westernmost edge to wrest wealth and glory from Europe's giants. And, like Hercules, they halted at a body of water. In this race, the river Ganges, and ventured no further. Why is that? If they had nukes, why'd they stop? Huh? They already conquered China. They already have a third of the world's population. Why stop at the Ganges? And ventured no further. But unlike Hercules, they feasted merrily on their spoils for years hence. That's a little racist. The Japanese co-prosperity sphere was incredibly problematic, but I don't know, that sentence just strikes me as vaguely phobic, and I don't know why. Now, grasping at the empire's edges has become a Herculean labor for Tokyo's corpulent digits. I don't know, makes me uncomfortable. There's just something about this that just... The writing has some weird slant to it, because when writing about Germany, they don't have quite the same tone as they do when they write about Japan. In effect, India and Southeast Asia have turned into cracks running along an otherwise perfect sphere's surface. And with a little help from Washington, these cracks can widen into gorges, tearing Japan's pet project apart. Is it their pet project, or is it their spoils? Again, you're mixing metaphors to the point where it doesn't make sense. Alright, history lesson. While America joined the Second World War, while the United States joined the Second World War, not America. Do not use the two interchangeably. America refers to two continents. The United States performed admirably, humbling the Kriegsmarine in the Atlantic, and beginning to turn the tide in the Pacific. But the invention of the atom bomb ended any hope for American victory for the few remaining allies. Now, 20 years later, America stands divided. While the Depression is slowly ending, the American political scene sits in chaos. The government remains locked between... Hold up. The Depression was pretty much over by the time we went to war with Japan. I mean, financially, the government was still reeling in debt, and we needed the war effort or another big project to get that many people employed. But what do you mean the Depression is ending in 1964? It was basically over in 1944. You must explain to me how 20 extra years of depression happened. Alex, it can't be racist against a fascist regime. So what if I said all Nazi soldiers are dogs and subhumans? They're Nazis. Yeah, like, they're inhuman monsters because they're Nazis. Yes. But not everyone in Germany was a Nazi, right? Not everyone in Japan was a fascist. Not everyone in the South is racist. Not, right? We need to be very careful with our language here and our generalizations, but especially in communities like this, generalizations are the rule of the land, and if it's uncomfortable to think as your opposition is human, that's good, because it should be uncomfortable, because they are human. Population groups aren't homogenous? Nah, disagree. This streamer's crazy, yeah. Civil rights movement greatly shifting political sphere. The 1960s were heralded the greatest threats America has ever faced. I mean, if you say so. We'll go ahead, start game, and it'll throw some text at me. And by some text, I mean, oh, you think we're done with the paragraphs? He's been live for half an hour, or I've been live for half an hour, and oh, finally the game started. You poor bastard. If you thought Kaiserreich had a lot of flavor text, you ain't seen shit. This is just playing through a mid-20th century fictionalized novel. That's really what this plays like. I've gone through years of this game, and I fought like 3 very easy wars. Granted, I had the opportunity to start World War III, but nah. It's kind of silly it isn't an immediate game over when World War III happens, given that the United States, Japan, and Germany all supposedly have nukes. This is one thing I want to complain about. This fucking loading time, it's not great. Today especially, it's not great. Okay, alright, we'll hold off on this. This is very interesting, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the rest of the Americas. Canada, they're liberals. No national focuses, they don't have a national focus tree. You know, if Canada doesn't have a national focus tree, you can bet your ass no one else does. Yeah, I'm not sure who the sick man is. Is it the Italian Empire? Is it Germany? Because, like, Turkey's the sick man of Europe. There are some good memes in here. There are some good fucking jokes in here. Alright. Mexico's social democracy. Guatemala. Authoritarian democracy. Honduras. Liberal democracy. El Salvador. Authoritarian. Nicaragua's despotism. Costa Rica's democracy. Libs. Conservative democracy in Venezuela. Guyana is authoritarian. Brazil is democratic. Really? Sure. Conservative democracy in Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Argentina, Bolivia. Man. Okay. I gotta say, in a world where Germany won the Second World War, and not a single one of these is fascist, no fascism was exported to South America. There's no... Okay. I mean, not likely, dog, but sure. Cuba. My boy! My sweet, sweet boy Fidel. Yeah, I know Castro was problematic in a lot of ways, but in order to halt the potential German influence in Cuba, the Americans needed their own man in Havana. That man is Fidel Castro, a lawyer turned Marxist guerrilla who was armed and aided by the CIA in overthrowing Fulgencio Batista's military junta. He's a living testament to the adage that politics makes for strange bedfellows. The Americans justified behavior by claiming necessity. They could not allow a Nazi puppet in their backyard at any cost. And who more staunchly anti-fascist than a communist? Gotta say, in IRL, in our timeline, people were super excited about Fidel when he first revolted against the Batista regime. It was only after Fidel started coming for the rich people and actually doing real socialist stuff that the US was like, oh wait, you're not just like a fake democracy populist movement? Oh no. Castro is a brave fighter, but also a devoted ideologue, confident that his policies will transform Cuba into a modern, self-sufficient, progressive workers' paradise that will serve as a beacon of hope for the world's proletariat. But despite his professed love of Marx, he's also quite cooperative towards the CIA and their interests. This seemingly hypocritical compromise has worked out fairly well for Castro. So long as he stays within Washington's orbit, they are content to let him govern the island as he pleases. That being said, he's required to provide certain economic concessions for American corporations, and other socialist figures denounce him as a traitor to the cause and an agent of a Yankee reactionaries. Castro believes that his agreement is the best way to ensure some form of proletarian government in Cuba and is the only way available to achieving a classless society. But he's left in careful balancing act between American interests and support of anti-imperialist comrades. Cuba would be fucking fascinating to play as, unfortunately. They have no focus tree. He's not the invisible hand of the jungle. Wait, we have a fascist. We have one fascist, Haiti. That's interesting. Yeah, the United States occupies Greenland and Iceland. Greenland isn't like... Iceland is U.S. forces Iceland. Greenland? That's America, baby, if we just straight up annex Greenland. We also have, the Faroes? Yeah. Yeah, Iceland has the Faroe Islands. Little weird to me. But okay. Yeah, the mod has a lot of development left to go. Years before the talk of Nazi jackboot and Japanese tyranny of the Isles, the stars and stripes flew high and mightily over the likeness of a different worldwide sickness. That of the excess of the Roaring Twenties, the explosion of Wall Street crash, and the dread of the Great Depression that journeyed forth, wreaking havoc upon a crippled America. It was here that the ideas of Rooseveltian New Deal burned, as comparisons to the failures of the Soviets' Nikolai Bukharin's own dealings left the ideas unpopular and unsupported. They were unpopular in our timeline. Roosevelt was just an amazing politician and got it done anyway because he was a good progressive and stacked the courts and forced Congress to do what he wanted. Is that a little undemocratic? Yeah. Was it worth it? Yeah. It was here that Al Smith came to the top for Democrats, allowing the then incumbent President Herbert Hoover to maintain his stay in the White House. In 1936, however, things changed for the U.S. Joseph P. Kennedy promised an administration of balance and isolation, seeking to tiptoe away from the breaking out of war in Europe by the Nazi. Despite the constant pleas from Allied states, peace and abstainment reigned in North America, allowing the country to maneuver a recovery from the Great Depression and bolster the American economy. However, calm and stability hath reigned not. For on December 7th, 1941, a day which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan, crippling the United States fleet as it rested in Pearl Harbor. With the Navy on the retreat and a new president to take hold, President Harry S. Truman promised the American people that they would see the beacon of liberty pushed through for the cause of democracy, a promise which sunk to the depths of the Pacific on July 4th, 1945. Really? It was on the 4th of July? Dude, you're just doing this for dramatic effect. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. I mean, even in Kaiserreich, which do a better job than most at the focus trees of Latin America, there's a lot of pretty Anglo-centric, white gaze kind of critiques or kind of narratives going on there, so I would not be in the least bit surprised if this mod didn't follow suit. A flash of light consumed the island of Hawaii upon the dropping of an atomic bomb on the previously attacked Pearl Harbor. To make attack... Okay, how? How? Because the attack on Pearl Harbor was an abject failure. It didn't cripple the fleet. It could have, but even then the industrial capacity of the United States in the next 4 years by 1945 to produce more aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, and destroyers to replace what was lost, primarily the battleships and aircraft carriers, we were able to multiply our number of pre-war ships substantially. And after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the United States... Okay, this person... It's just doing it for dramatic effect, right? But I'm not buying in because that's the U.S. fleet deployment after Pearl Harbor became a lot more spread out in order to prevent the same thing from happening again. But, 4 years later, and somehow there was... Somehow, in 4 fucking years of fighting, there were still Japanese planes in range of Hawaii. Even though the United States fleet was presumably out, sure, whatever. Make matters worse, late August saw the signing of the Agaki Accords, officially ending the war with the first great American defeat in history. So, alright, Hawaii got nuked. big fucking deal. like, I want to be clear. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, big deal. Big fucking deals. It's in the mainland, the home islands. They have millions of people. Hawaii? That wouldn't have stopped the United States. I mean, this is a colony of the US more than it is a state. It's a state, but like, let's be real. This is a subjugated kingdom. Alex, stop trying to apply logic. The libs let their libs have their tragedy so they can jerk off, liberating the entire world. Yeah, essentially. Now, here's the icing on the cake. The fucking treaty ports of Los Angeles and San Francisco. But not Seattle. Apparently, Seattle, Portland, we're not good enough to get ports, but these two are. It signed away the state of Hawaii and the naval bases of Los Angeles and San Francisco to Japanese control, alongside the endless amounts of reparations pay and the lifting of embargoes to Axis-aligned states. The chaotic 1948 election saw Dewey Thomas signed to Trump the What? The chaotic 1948 election saw Dewey Thomas sign Trump the embarrassed Democrats. What? This sentence doesn't make any fucking sense. Also, you're missing a space here. Yeah, I can't make sense of this sentence. So, okay. Dewey Thomas signed something to Trump the embarrassed Democrats over a reeling nation having to deal with the planting of seeds towards new political paths of the United States. This sentence seems like it's important, but I have no idea what this jumble of words is trying to say. Give me more borked English. My brain is... what? In the first post-war election, an angry and bitter American populace almost unanimously turned their backs upon the ruling Democratic Party. Look at how far we are. Facing the waves of defections of Republicans and the loss of nearly all their Senate seats, the party desperately sought to survive. Ultimately, a radical solution was proposed by former Democrat-turned-Republicans such as Senator Lyndon B. Johnson, a union with the now triumphant Republican Party. After much political wrangling, two parties were united to form Republican-Democratic Party, briefly turning America into a one-party state. It already was, dude, and it still is. Thus, the legendary General Dwight D. Eisenhower, famed for his bold defense of the English line against the Nazis, won the election as first president under the Republican Democrats. Eisenhower worked hard in creating the Organization of Free Nations and an economic and defensive alliance of democratic forces left in the world. However, with the final declaration of Eisenhower's intent to oversee Hawaii's reintroduction into the Union against the Agaki Accords, the United States has firmly entrenched its position in the dangerous world of today. Whilst new rising political stars come to sit in the most powerful seats of the country, now we look forward into the 1960s. President Richard Milhouse Nixon and Vice President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, son of former President Joseph P. Kennedy, find themselves at the helm of the White House. However, didn't you say helm already? No, I guess you didn't. Okay. However, the Republican Democrats no longer remain unchallenged in the political arena. As the American Depression wore on and the matter of civil rights began to enter the public consciousness, some Americans began to turn to alternate voices to represent their grievances. The National Progressive Front, formed by, oh God, bring it back. Formed by Henry S. Wallace and Glenn Taylor in 1947, became a beacon of progressivism, while George S. Patton's Patriotic Party was established in 1951 to represent hardline conservative interests. Both were able to carry states in the election in 1952 and 56, but neither could unseat Republican Democrats. In the interest of presenting a united anti-establishment vote, two parties made the controversial decision to unite under one banner, the National Progressive Party. Though whether this Frankenstein of a political movement can have an impact remains to be seen. This shit bugs the hell out of me. This is the most lib-ass garbage. Hey, hardline conservatives? They're just Republicans, dipshit. no socialist, no communist, no progressive would ever stand side by side with the fucking fascist. Never. Never, 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 never. Because I understand what their worldview is, right? Like, well, you know, one's really radical to the left and one's really radical to the right, and they both hate us in the center, so, like, yeah, of course they join together to fight us, because, like, they hate us for our freedom, right? Not how that works, buddy. And also, I want to point out, I've looked at your fucking coding. You know how many events there are for the National Progressive Front becoming the dominant party? 0. You know how many events there are for the Patriotic Party becoming the predominant party? More than 0. I got some questions, champ. I got some questions. Why did prioritizing the NPP, the National Progressive Party, basically, it seems great. Social democracy starting out with 27%. You can slowly turn this into socialism, but there aren't any events really related to socialism or democratic socialism. They're all related to authoritarian democracy or fascism, for the by and large. But whatever, we'll see that firsthand. Yikes. I'm related to Libs of Iron 4, but I was looking for a visual novel to download. The very first review one says, as I'm Spanish, I didn't see any fun in the Spanish jokes, but I guess English people enjoyed the jokes. Didn't know racist weebs knew how to code. Oh yeah, they do. There's definitely some prevailing problems in the games industry related to their background. In the year 1962, Richard Nixon is the President of the United States of America. Fortunately, his work is cut out for him. Should that say fortunately? Should that say unfortunately? Americans from coast to coast desire social reform at all levels. A new crisis is... Do Americans from coast to coast desire new social reforms? Because you just told me 23% of the population don't want any fucking social reforms at all. Okay. A new crisis is brewing in enemy-controlled Hawaii as the aggressive Japanese place nuclear missiles on the island chain. Racism runs rampant across the South as African Americans plead for a Civil Rights Act to be signed, while many Southerners fiercely oppose the act. The Cold War between us, Germany, and the Empire of Japan is starting to heat up once again, and President Nixon's job to bring this country to its rightful place on the world stage. I don't care about these other people. I don't care about these other people. I'm saving us the effort, man. Somebody majored in 20th century American history and really wanted to suck Lyndon B. Johnson's dick, all right? Region info. Oh, Guyana, situation Republic Guyana is tense and is growing more so with every passing days. The right of Indo-Guyanans are continually being restricted, taken away by the iron-fisted president Forbes Burnham. Burnham himself becoming increasingly combative, dismissive of the United States, put him in power in the first place. Guyana draws closer and closer. Dictatorship conflict seems inevitable. Man, the coloring of these words is hilarious. Dominion of Canada is on paper under the British crown. In reality, she's far more shackled to her southern neighbor, the United States of America. Truth. Okay. Quebecois terrorist groups grow larger by the day. There's all this flavor in here that acts like these nations have histories and have their own politics. They don't. Nothing's gonna happen to them, as they have no events. They have interesting ideas, setting up the groundwork for, you know, some of these having some stuff, but it's a blank canvas, right? To put it politely, there's a lot of empty space here. Let's quickly scour the world. Here's the Unity Pact over here, the Triumvirate, the Arab League, Republic of India, Co-Prosperity Sphere. It's never clearly explained, to my knowledge, why the Soviet Union collapsed into just about a million fucking tiny states. but they did. It's not clear why more Reichskommissariats weren't set up to the Urals, as was the original plan. The Urals were the planned border, but whatever. You have the West Russian Revolutionary Front and the People's Revolutionary Council. You know, you got some groups, but apparently, no, so much for the USSR, baby. They've completely redone the UI with what they feel is a 1980s vibe. I hate how these icons look. Feedback is they hurt to look at. TBH. Now, one neat thing, one very artful thing they do in this mod is they fuck around with your focus trees. When I hopped in, initially my reaction was like, oh no, why did we make all these terrible decisions? Like, I want to go back and change these. You can't. Oh, just you wait. Just you wait. We're gonna fucking see what happens with the civil rights stuff, because there's some weird ideas in there. Yeah, these focuses don't do anything. We got our hands dirty in the election. I mean, there's a lot of flavor text to read here. Yeah. We went with towing the middle line with the Civil Rights Act. We didn't do splendid isolation. We're doing containment theory. Good shit. But let's just hop in here. Let's smash the crested wave. When he arrested the Giants, hey, we already read the erudite can draw parallel. Yeah, suck your own dick, man. It must be good shit. Okay. We start out a little technologically behind because, of course, you do. Can't just have people praise the United States and them have power. Nope, because the US is OP as shit and very hard to portray. Start getting some infantry weapons. Now let's... So this is a really nice touch. Because there's a crisis with Japan going on right now, our fleets... this is basically the Cuban Missile Crisis is going on right now. Our fleet is sitting outside of Hawaii in like, haha, it's a naval blockade. But the AI immediately is like, no, we're going back to port. So I'm just gonna go in here and make sure all of these are actually in port. It's a visually interesting thing that you've done, but mechanically insubstantial. So why do it? Essentially is my question. Dear mod authors, don't do this. Don't poorly arrange. If you're gonna give me this many fucking airplanes, make them optimized, dude. You know the meta as well as I do when it comes to the balance. You do these in stacks of 100 because it's easier to take care of that way, and that's about the cap on their effectivity. Don't just put like 20 points here, 20 points here, and 20 points. Okay, I get it. Like, you're going for some realism, but if you poked into the code, and I know that you have, you know that realism has nothing to do with Hearts of Iron, and this game and most Paradox games are just a convoluted mess. You gotta... Don't give me this shit I have to micromanage every time. I begrudge you for it greatly. And hey, our armies don't start out assigned to anything, so I have to go grab them. Figuring out where the frig they all are. Oh, I missed you. Then you. 31, is that everyone? Nah, we got more than that. You got 2 down in Australia, because God knows their armies aren't good enough. Yeah, if the fake blockade didn't cause fuel attrition, it'd be neat. Or if they had them, like, actually on a mission here, but they don't. They don't have them on a mission in the Hawaiian Ridge. They just have them sitting out here. I'd be okay with it if there was, like, a patrol mission, or a convoy raiding mission, or, you know, something. And it is barely in range for some of these ships to be out here. I mean, that's kind of a laugh, too, just the incontinuity between in-game mechanics and narrative. Like, oh no, you can't go to Hawaii. Hawaii's out of range. What? Excuse you, Paradox? Oh, hey, production. I'm just gonna, oh god, okay, no, start out with this. So, I'll be real with you. This mod's broken. This mod's broken in one very specific way. And here in a second, I'll illustrate that for you. These airborne divisions are fucking stupid. Airborne divisions have replaced paratrooper divisions, so you can't just paradrop people in. Instead, these things move at fucking the speed of sound. And you can just run circles around your, around whoever you're fighting. They're, like, motorized to, like, a 12. They're just... They're incredible. They're absolutely incredible. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Mod authors, can I ask why you gave me such shit divisions? An infantry division that's all motorized with armor, or APCs with armor, or just a bunch of soldiers with no artillery and military police. Or Marines that are, you know, actually half decent, or an armored division, or... Nah, buddy. Nah. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this because it's hard as hell to produce. So, hey, this entire army, they're National Guard now. Go sit at Mexico's border and think about what you've done. What they've done is exist. That's what they've done wrong. But Alex, aren't you concerned about World War III spiking off? Spoilers, it doesn't. It doesn't? The first time I was playing through this, I was like, well, you know, maybe I should keep troops on hand just in case, and like, ooh, I better min-max these divisions. I've never needed more than 5 divisions for any of the wars I've been in this game. Which isn't bad. The conflicts of this time period were a lot more limited in scope than the total war of Total War II. Or of World War II, Total War II. That's a game franchise. Okay. Hey, I want to convert these remaining Marine divisions into airborne. Unfortunately, I could not do that as we started out above our special forces limit, so I've just fixed that. Fuck, I don't know. Go defend Camp David in DC. Yeah. Let's assign you to Westmoreland. Here we go. Who gets this? Frank S. Besson Jr. You, Maxwell Taylor. You, I actually care who you got. Where is he? Where's my man? Yes, Charles H. Bonesteel III. Fucking amazing name. Why my good boy Charles here? He's an infantry leader, so he gets infantry division attack. That's it, really. These are infantry divisions, so any boost. Okay, civilian factories. I'm looking at the infrastructure to see where I should start. I'm seeing 8 in Illinois and 9 in New York, so we're starting in Newark. Okay, Alex, be reasonable here. What do you want? I don't know. I don't know what I want. How many civilian factories do we have? 132, but 63 are in use from consumer goods. Good God. Yeah, high poverty rate, medium... Okay. So we have 3 civilian factories here. Let's pop in 3 more, fill the rest with military factories. Find me an 8 in upstate. All right, I'll go with that. How many civilian factories you got, kiddo? 5. Perfect. And the rest of military factories, you also have 8? Yeah. So, civilian factories. 11. Okay, just a couple more military factories. And that's it for now, right? Yeah, the 7s are up next. And we'll get to that when we get to it. But we won't get to it for a while. Free military factories. So, I just fucked around a lot with what we need. I'm keeping the APCs on here. Ditching the tanks. We don't need fighter jets. Might surprise you. Don't really need an air force for the vast majority of the early game wars we're getting into. What do I need? Ooh, I need to click on Airborne Division, make them elite. They need anti-tank equipment. Got that. Artillery. Got it. Infantry equipment. Got it. Motorized support equipment and transport helicopters. That's it. Now, I would love to say we'll be able to improve our army sometime soon. No, we won't. Volunteer only recruitment means we have a minus 0.02 army tradition per day. We can try. It's just gonna take a long time to amend that. So, for the time being, this is all I really need. Actually, let's boost that up to 5. You know what? Move this up the tree a little bit. Now, long term, what I'd like to do is for these. Oh, we'll get to that. I want to replace this, and this with APCs. Make these motorized artillery. Give a bunch of support divisions, and that's a 20 with very good division. I don't even know if we'll need it. But that's the long-term goal. But to get there, we need army experience, which is going to take a million goddamn years. Just all the time in the world. Here we go. That's that. We're donezo. We're donezo, Washington. Dockyards. I'll be real with you. I'm not up to date on the meta for what you should or should not be building, so I'm going with light cruisers because we don't have battleship designs, and TBH, I hate aircraft carriers. I think they suck. They're too much effort to micromanage. Like, seriously, airplanes in this game are just a huge pain in the ass to manage. Not fun. Don't like the Air Force in Hoi 4, and it's not as necessary as it was in Hoi 3. It matters, but not as much as it used to. Just build big boat. Yeah, you get it. Big boat, big boat, big boat. I think we're good to unpause. No, we're not. So, game's pointing me at this. This is a very, very, very cool thing. I mean, this is very cool too. Before we click this, this is one of the main attractors to the game, is they talked about a Vicky 2 style population and political system. And you know what? Honestly, it's pretty good. Only 3 kinds of boat worth anything. Big boat, plain boat, underwater boat. Agreed. Big boat, make other boat go boom. Plain boat, make big boat go boom. Unless you build big boat correctly, in which case, plain boat, go boom. Underwater boat, go boop, 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 and make all of your troops disappear when you put them on water. So, we have societal development, ranging from mass illiteracy to an academic golden age, and depending on your policies, depending on a lot of obscured things, these trend up or down. Now, why is it trending up or down? Doesn't really say. This is a paradox level opaqueness to mechanics. I didn't even see LGBTQ rights. Oh, outlawed. Excuse you. Fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Absolutely go to hell. Go 100% to hell. This is irredeemable trash. Oh, outlawing queer people, that gives you stability. But giving queer people rights or making them not criminal? Whoa, that lower stability. You can't see... You can't see me flipping off the camera, but oh my god, you are garbage. But once you give these people legal protections, then your monthly population goes up? Are you trying to say that queer people fuck more? Haha, gay people have sex, so they increase your population? What? I want the rationale behind this, because fuck you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Gender roles. Sure. Minorities. Why does giving equal rights to people or embracing affirmative action as restorative justice, why does that lower stability? That should increase stability. Lowering stability would be... I get the rationale is, well, lower stability because people on the right would be unsettled by that. That's not the same thing as stability, though. Yeah, bi people only breed if we're sexually protected, otherwise we only exclusively participate in homosexual orgies. Yep. Yep. That's how that works. So police give stability. Oh god, okay, this is gross. So this is a purely linear and progressive tree when it comes to security. As far as they're concerned, having no police is anarchic. It's unstable, no political power, you can't keep any secrets. Cops come in, you get a little bit, and then you get a security service, and yep. Gross. Gross, yeah. There's a lot... This is a Republican. This is absolutely a Republican. Gaze of the world. This is a very Republican lens, which is such a shame because this is really interesting, but like the values being expressed here and being put on display and normalized here are like incredibly problematic. Penal slavery. Free repair. You get more people if you have slaves. No, you can recruit more people if you have slaves, but your monthly population is lower. But you're really stable. Man, this isn't nuanced. This is not nuanced at all. This is just very demonstrative of some very problematic views about the world. Pollution. Sorry, strict regulations. That hurts your factory output. Yeah, it's more expensive to build stuff. Republicans. Thick state bad. Also Republicans. Oh god, please read my browser history. Nixon Chan, I'm gonna come. Yeah, you got it. You got it. No. It's bad when I get taxed, but the police are here to protect people. Just find a consistent value and stick to it. You could be a piece of shit bootlicker. Just do it 24/7, buddy. Don't eat boot and then talk about how the government's bad. Pick a side. But they can't. Hey, universal basic income. It makes things more expensive. How? Oh no, it just costs our GDP. Okay. Sure, they should increase the... I'm not going to dissect all of these. I want to, but it's already been an hour, and I haven't even unpaused, so I guess I'm putting in a cut here. I would not... If you're watching this on YouTube, I don't know if I'd recommend this mod. Honestly, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Mechanically, what they've done is fascinating. The story that they're trying to tell is provocative. But as we'll see in the following episodes, I don't know if they do a good job of it. I'm not sure if it's fun. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's good. It's interesting. Which is such a non-committal word, and we'll dig into it more later. But until then, I'm going to say toodaloo, take care, see you then, bye-bye.